When I was a kid, my parents and my relatives would ask me, "So what do you want to be when you grow up?" And I remember vividly that I wanted to become a surgeon, but not any surgeon. See, I wanted to become a neurosurgeon. I was always fascinated by the brain and how the brain functioned. And my grandmother, she would encourage that fascination by bringing me the actual cow's brain, and we would dissect it together, and she would show me the different parts. After all, who wouldn't want their grandchild to become a neurosurgeon? But I can assure you, 20 years later, I did not become a neurosurgeon. See, I was never attracted to the gruesome blood in the operations, despite my parents constantly cheering me on, because God bless their soul, they always wanted the best for me, but with the mindset and the beliefs of their generation. Now, I know you guys know what I'm talking about. أنا بنت محامية ابني مهندس. Too many people go into fields that do not necessarily reflect their personal skills or interests, but rather from parental pressure or wanting to be part of a greater society. But in a world that is rapidly transforming through artificial intelligence and automation, this can no longer happen because the jobs of today can no longer be promised tomorrow. According to the World Economic Forum, 65% of children entering primary school today will end up working in jobs that have not even been created yet. Does that mean it's no longer valid to ask your son or daughter what they want to be when they grow up? Are we telling them to stop dreaming? But dreams are what make us human. Dreams, or the human imagination, have brought us to where we are today. We have always been the drivers of change. Change that has helped us develop a better and a faster world, which brings us to the topic of discussion today. How are we able to prepare youth for the future of work if we do not even know what kind of jobs will exist? Now, let me give you a slight hint. It's not found in this. It's found in this and this. No longer can we just rely on textbooks and school tests to examine how smart your child is, because intelligence does not rely solely on your GPA. You have people like the founder of SpaceX and co-founder of Tesla, Elon Musk, and co-founder of Alibaba Group, Jack Ma, that would agree with me on this. It's now time to focus on what makes us human: creativity, leadership. Because now you don't even need a degree to work at companies like Google, IBM, Apple, and many others. You just need the right mindset and the skills to start your apprenticeship journey. Now, I'm not saying that university degrees are going to become irrelevant. On the contrary, many fields are always going to require university degrees. But the educational system itself needs to be updated to suit the rapid changes that are constantly happening around us. Now, whilst I didn't become a neurosurgeon, I did complete my master's degree back in Australia, and I started working in humanitarian fields. And through work, I did notice that there was this gap between employment programs and educational programs, which is where my love for psychometrics came from. So psychometric assessments, they measure an individual's strengths, their weaknesses, their mental capabilities to perform in different areas, all that is linked back to the brain and how it functions. They can predict how well you will perform in certain areas, your counterproductive behavior, your leadership skills, your communication skills, your negotiation skills, whether you're an introvert, whether you're an extrovert, and so on. Now, without you knowing, you probably have done some sort of psychometric tests, whether like a personality test or an aptitude test. Now, these kind of tests are a small category of what psychometric assessments are. The best ones are multidimensional in nature, and they examine your emotional quotient, your EQ, your cultural quotient, your CQ, and your adversity quotient, or your AQ. So your emotional quotient is linked back to your ability to identify, understand, and control both your own emotions and the emotions of those around you. Now, the greatest leaders usually have a very high emotional intelligence because they're able to empathize with others around them. Your CQ, or your cultural quotient, or your cultural intelligence, is linked to your ability to work effectively with all cultures and races. For example, being able to work here in Lebanon and also being able to work, let's say, in India, Pakistan, Australia, Saudi Arabia. Your ability to adjust to the country's cultures, customs, religions, traditions, and their way of life, which is very important for international companies these days because they have many locations at the end. And your AQ, or your adversity quotient, or which I like to call your adaptability, is related to your resilience and how you respond to different changes, which is extremely important in today's society that's constantly changing. Large corporations and high schools are today relying on psychometric assessments in order to place you in employment programs or educational programs that reflect your skills and where you can truly thrive. In a world that's constantly changing, there is a need also for continuous learning. Because just like your phone needs to constantly be updated, so do you, in accordance to the rapid changes that are happening around you. Now, you can do this from the convenience of your own mobile phone if necessary. There are no excuses anymore. You can gain access to incredible amounts of data, update your knowledge in any field necessary, become a photographer, become a computer programmer, learn Python, learn how to start your own business. There is no end to your potential as long as you're willing to learn and constantly work on yourself. Yes, technology is definitely changing the way we work, changing the way we acquire data, and changing the way we do business. Because of technology, I'm able to go visit my parents in Australia and still take on jobs and projects here in Lebanon. And the great thing about AI, artificial intelligence, and automation is that by automating the tasks that we don't naturally enjoy doing, we have more time to work on what truly inspires us and what provides us with a sense of purpose. A big part of creating a sense of purpose is creating a sense of self-awareness, understanding who you are, what you care about, and who do you want to become. In other words, focusing on what the Japanese like to call your ikigai. So ikigai is a Japanese philosophy that translates to a reason for being. There was a test conducted in Japan to see why some of the oldest people in the world lived there, and especially on an island called Okinawa, with many of its inhabitants living above the age of 100. In the Okinawan language, there is no word for retirement. Instead, they use the words which inspires their life called ikigai. The reason why you wake up in the morning, what drives a sense of happiness in your life. And what they found out was that the people of Okinawa created a lifestyle which incorporated both their professional life and their everyday life. For them, work is not an obligatory duty for survival. Instead, it brings them an enjoyment and it brings them fulfillment. Ikigai is the intersection between your mission, vocation, profession, and passion. It is based on what you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. And usually when it comes to what the world needs, I always tell my students to focus on the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals. Does anyone know about the Sustainable Development Goals? Good. When we link ourselves to a purpose and a goal, work becomes fulfilling. You start identifying yourself with a mission rather than a title, and you enjoy what you do. Enjoying what you do has a significant impact on your mental and your physical health, and with the people that are around you, with your family, your relatives, your parents. You spend 35% of your life working. But if you're in a field that you truly enjoy and you feel like you're truly making a difference, it will never feel like work for you. You will not dread your Mondays. You will not be saying TGIF, thank God it's Friday. So let's stop asking our kids what they want to be when they grow up. Rather, let's change the question to, what problems do they want to solve? This changes the conversation from focusing on a title to, how can I create a positive difference? How can I create a positive change and make a difference in life? We will always be responsible for creative innovation. But in a world run by robotics, it's important not to forget what it means to be human. Thank you.